Well, thank you for coming at 8 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't sure that anyone would be here except Melissa and my husband, who's a great supporter. This is Mrs. Melissa Vincent, and she's going to help me today and talk about her webpage. So really what I'm going to talk about today is just how I've done something with the help of the Sins for Teacher Excellence. So I will just start. To start with, I want to maximize this at the moment. This is the title, Student Created Web Pages for Course Content Dissemination. And I think it could have been called How the CTE Helped Me Create Web Pages. So there could have been several different types of titles for this. And I thought if Terry can sort of use a personal beginning with Big Puzzled Yesterday, I don't actually ever really thought about doing this. So I want to quote from a song from my alma mater. This is my sort of introduction. And people probably like Jim can imagine this.
Sing it. No, sing it.
No, I'm not a good enough singer. All right. But if you can imagine, I went to an all-girls selective school. It wasn't a private school, it's a public school in England. I won't go into the details of the education system there. But I wore a uniform every day. I wore a hat. I tied a tie. It was navy blue and pink, if you can imagine. I don't know, you probably don't want to imagine it. In the summer I wore a boda. Does anyone know what a boda is? It's one of those straw hats with a flat top, like you might see at Oxford and Henley, the yachting and stuff like that. Anyway, this is part of our school song, so I'm going to quote it to you. It's good to see the school we knew, the land of youth and dream, to greet again the rule we knew before we took the stream. And though we've missed the sight of her, our hearts cannot forget. We've lost the old delight of her, but keep her on it. We'll honour yet the school we knew, the best school of all. We'll honour yet the rule we knew till the last bell call. For working days or holidays, for glad or melancholy days, there were great days and jolly days at this school. We used to sing this in St Andrew's Hall, which was part of the old Benedictine monastery, and in fact Alan and I got married there many years after I used to sing this song. Okay, so the best school of all. The problem is, it was a great school, but it wasn't very forward-looking. In fact, we were told at that school, no one needs to learn to type here, because you will always have someone to type for you. So you can imagine what it was like. So, as I say, it's a supreme irony that today I'm talking or presenting on some form of technology, and that's why I wanted to hurriedly say I am not good at technology. Actually, it's not a presentation about technology at all, but it's on its possible uses for course content enhancement, and I'm going to talk about how I received help for this. I put this little note in here. I know he's in Egypt, but I eventually learned to type in Dr. Jaber's Technology for Teachers Master's course some 11 years ago. And I always remember feeling so embarrassed at that point because he said, I don't want any people in here who hunt and peck. You know, and that's me at the back going, you know, just sort of talking like that. Anyway, I'm a little better than I was at that point. So seriously, I have honestly made a conscious effort to improve my technological skills, and I even put it into my PAC. And I didn't know whether that was relevant to say that today, but I wanted to do this because I want to just demonstrate to you how I use this sender to help me with this particular piece that I feel like I should do. In fact, one of my colleagues said to me yesterday, why do you always keep trying to improve yourself? But that was a joke. Some people might know who I'm talking about, but she's not here this morning. So this was my PAC goal. I will integrate at least one assignment per class that requires the use of technology, e.g. the use of Google Docs and Prezi for SPED 316 assignment, the use of Weebly.com for web page design in SPED 335, which is what I'm going to concentrate on today, the use of Easy IEP, which is an online individual education program facilitates teachers being able to write individual plans. In SPED 485-90 and SPED 349, the use of online article reviews. And sometimes I get Lewis Morgan to come and talk about that. concerning the collaboration of outside agencies. And then I just report on the PAR that I introduced these things I felt successfully. I asked Mr. Mike Burton and Dr. Michael Sturgeon from this department, they come every semester to my classes, to help me and help the students with this particular exercise. So I feel like it's been very successful, and although I haven't really planned to do this, I'm going to just demonstrate this particular thing. This is not the web page design, but this is what I do in Spec 316. This is Google Docs. I don't know if you're all familiar with this or not. And let me just sort of give another brief background as to why I use this kind of particular online collaboration. When I was doing my doctor's degree and I went to England, I used to have to spend, I went 5 times a year. I spent a week there every semester. I spent summers there. And so I wanted to think up some kind of creative way of helping my students to meet together, to get credit for attendance and to do work. And if you tell them, study in the library, then they're much more inclined to, you don't know maybe, if you know what I mean. So both Michael Burton and Dr. Sturgeon have come across and demonstrated Google Docs. So this is an online collaborative tool whereby they have to log on and I'm invited to share into the presentation. So I don't know if you're all familiar with this or not, but I find it's a great tool. I have them write collaborative papers using this, and also they do this collaborative PowerPoint, not in the class we're going to talk about this morning. So you can see it says no one else is editing this presentation at the present time. So each student can upload their own slide, they can edit each other's slides, and it's and they have to log on while I'm gone at least 2 times, and they have to submit something at least 2 times. So they can get an attendance grade in this way, and then also I know that they've gone working towards the assignment. So this isn't really what I'm going to talk about today, but I wanted to say that from this sender, both mics will come and demonstrate this for your class and let you know that you can use this particular application. And of course there are many more. Prezi is one, you can edit Prezis, which is sort of the latest thing instead of PowerPoint. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Alright, so I teach a class called Teaching the Gifted, Creative and Talented. It's a special ed class. All special ed teachers in Tennessee are licensed to teach gifted students. I think it's a little of a Cinderella in our state, in all honesty, but we try to make it really meaningful so that when our students leave, then they feel like they have something whereby they could say, yes, I have some understanding of gifted students and how to teach them. So the assignment or the evaluation activity is this, to create a group, individual web-based resource for students who are gifted, or for parents, teachers or other professionals who work with certain aspects of giftedness in the P12 setting. That little D and T in there is just something specific to our department. We have to demonstrate it on our syllabus or syllabi where we offer issues of diversity or issues of technology. We did this for our national accreditation as well, so that's why it's on there. And then the website will be presented in class on the date set out in the session schedule. So this is part of this is just cut and pasted from the syllabus. So this is the assignment, and I offer it, and I told Melissa, I don't know whether I was going to say this or not, I offer it as an alternative to a research paper. And at the end I'd be interested in your input on that. I think it really nicely meets critical skill 2, which is identifying legitimate sources. So in a way it's sort of like towards writing a research paper. And I think when you see Melissa's website, you'll realize the number of sources that she has on there and the amount of research that she has done. So she didn't actually do the written component, but she certainly did a huge amount of research that goes towards this website. So that's the actual assignment. So these are the details. They have a choice concerning the topic, but it must be on some aspect of giftedness. Another assignment in this class is to create a PowerPoint or a Prezi presentation on, they do it in a collaborative chapter review. They either do it in pairs or threes. So what I say to them, you can use something that you've already researched and add to it for the web page, or you can do something completely different. Like I had a couple of students this time who were very interested in Asperger's and autism, so they looked at autistic savants, people who have another disability but have some form of brilliance as well. So as I said, they may work in groups or individually, and then I invite someone from this centre to come and demonstrate the web page design on Weebly.com, and you're going to see that in a few minutes, or another relevant technology application like I've just said about Google Docs or Crazy other things as well. Then, this is the wonderful thing, I want to really brag on this centre today, and I mean this most sincerely. They come and do this demonstration in the class time, and then they put their email up on the board and their telephone number, and then my students don't ask me the technology questions, thankfully. They call them or they email them, and they immediately, it seems to me, respond to them. They have them over here, they'll videotape them if they want to add a video piece to the web page. They help them with the setup of it, they help them if they've forgotten how to click and drag pictures into the website. I honestly mean this is a wonderful, wonderful service from this centre, and I think it's really helped, it's enhanced my teaching and my classroom presentation. So I thought if everybody starts to do this, maybe Mary Ruth will have to hire somebody else. But it really is a wonderful, and they are most helpful in demonstrating the use of this particular application. All right, the purpose, and I could have gone for a whole list of these. In fact, I was thinking more. So the purpose of this evaluation activity is to increase further collaboration, particularly online collaboration. And as I said, it also helps me to know that students have actually done what I've asked them to do. To develop a skill that's helpful for today's teaching, I use the use of websites as a communication tool. Most teachers, when they get out there, I don't know, and Delia can help me with this question, I don't know if they're required to have a website, but it's strongly recommended that they put up their own website. And I don't know if there's training in the schools specifically for this or not.
Hamilton County has some stiff rules about your own website. It's usually routed through the school system, and there are usually people with in-house that can help you with that.
Yeah, so they have to more or less do have one, have communication with parents, they post homework assignments. So part of me thinking about future teachers was, okay, they need to do their own website, so this is a good thing for them to start to prepare to do that. Then also, it's something that they can use as a teaching tool, that they can use this and say they're teaching gifted students, they could use this as a unit of instruction. How to create your own website in the high school, maybe, or even in middle school, for students who are gifted. So it's something that they can use as a unit of instruction as well. And then also, which is really the piece that I'm emphasizing today, to increase research into course content and offer a different way for dissemination. Because this is very much about research, but it's obviously very different to a research paper, a written paper. And as I said, I'll be interested in your comments on that in a few minutes. I'd like you just to take a look. I have developed a very simple rubric for this, and I welcome comments. Melissa and I were talking yesterday. Honestly, all of my assignments, I try to refine them. I look at them every year. Again, in SPED 316, I'm going to add another sentence to my critical thinking activity that I do in Exceptional Child. Mr. Sandoval and I were discussing that. Yeah, well, maybe we should add this in. So I don't have, I change things up, which I don't know if it makes too much work for myself. But this is the way I judge the website, and I am going to refine this to make it more detailed. And I was glad to hear Dr. Estes say yesterday that his rubrics are extremely simple, like did it or didn't do it. I don't know if that's really good. Yeah, check. Or like it or don't like it. I don't know if anyone else was in this session last week. Like it a bit or you didn't do it, sort of thing. Anyway, because I'm not an expert on web design, so what I did was I went online to find, I just Googled things like, what makes a good website? Or what am I looking for in a good, and so I've found several really helpful articles, and so some of the things that I've pulled from here today are what I found on those Google sites. So they have to create actually at least 4 pages. They have to have a home page. They have to have a content page. They have to have a page that references links to other websites. And then, although this isn't on here, then they have to have one other page, which might be videos, it might be a blog, it might be something, a survey, or a monkey. They have to create one other page. So you can see the kind of things I'm looking for. On the home page, does the home page indicate the purpose of the website? Might the home page create a level of interest? And the other thing I do for this assignment, I invite peer reviews. So this last time I had 20 in the class, and so every time they presented their website, 3 people in the class also gave an opinion about the web page, because I think when you're looking at something that's a creative design, you do want other people's opinions besides what I'm just looking for. So might the home page create a level of interest? And I invite a peer comment there, give reasons as to why and why not. Is the home page and every page error-free? I think it's okay to say this. I had one student last summer with visual problems and dyslexic type problems, and there were tons of errors on the page. And so we had to get those corrected, because these are public pages. And if I have time at the end, and Mr. Sturgeon would show you a very brief thing of how he does this, they're out there. And it generally says Lee University, or it says the name of the student, or it says my name on there, and you'll see that in a few minutes. And so, if you have significant errors on the page, you definitely want to change that. So I want to make sure that there's no spelling errors, there's no grammatical errors, that it's something that's legitimate out there. And on the content page, which you'll see a demonstration of this in a few minutes, does the content page contain at least 10 items of information? Is all the information on topic and relevant to the topic? Is the information geared towards a specific audience? Because one of the things I ask them to do is to gear it towards parents, gifted students, professionals, teachers, principals. They have a specific audience to whom they want to gear this particular thing. And then they have the page 3 referencing links, relevant links to other websites. Is there a variety of links? So for example, you'll see this, why I feel this really helps with research. It might be an article, it might be a web page, it might be a video clip. So are there a variety of things? It's not just little YouTube videos, although I think that some of those are really good, but it isn't just that type of thing. Are the links relevant to the topic? So, if you're talking about autism, but you show a child with Down syndrome who can paint, I want it to be on topic, and that's sort of the focusing in again on the research aspect. And then I asked 3 people in the class, as well as the comment above, peer-reviewed attractiveness factor, aspects to think about, and they can add others to these. What about the design and colour? And I've done one of these myself, so I decided on a brown background and then I put black writing on it. Well, when I looked at that, I thought, no, you can't, that's no good. So, I'm asking people to think about a little bit about the creativity of the web page. What about the clarity of the written script? The clarity of content? Are there pictures, design, diagrams and graphics on there? And this is something, of course, that both mics help them with. And then, have they used a special feature, such as the use of a survey, a blog, a video of themselves? So there's only 10 points assigned by the students, but I do look at these when I give a grade for the website. So, this is a simple rubric, not quite as simple as Dr. Estes, but simple. And and I'm thinking about in my mind, I judge it on exemplary, proficient, emerging, and not acceptable. So I have these sort of 4 categories in my mind. And I'd value any comment on those things at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to ask Melissa to demonstrate and talk about her website. If time, I'll show another example that I've got up there from one of my group of students this time, but Melissa, if you'd like to come. And don't you want to give her a big hand?
Oh, yeah.
Very brave to come up here tonight. So, first I want to say thank you to Dr. McClung for having faith in me to do this, and also for you guys for coming. When given a choice between a website and a research paper, I said, I'm going to do a website. My husband said, that's kind of silly because it's going to be a lot more work than taking a research paper. I said, no, I don't like to write research papers. Well, he was right. It was many, many more hours than any research paper he wrote last semester, so he's a history major. So, but how I wanted to start, some things that were important to me when I started my website was that it was, since it's not like an organizational website, people don't really know who you are, I wanted to make it kind of personal so that they knew that I was invested in it and that it wasn't just a little bit of information here and there, and that they could trust that I looked for good sources. And that's why I kind of introduced myself, and then I'm going to Lee University, and that I was learning to be a special ed teacher. And then next I just wanted to talk about who my audience was, and I made this for parents and teachers as a resource. And you'll see some people made websites with a lot of information. Mine is more like short information with a link, so they have resources for enrichment activities. Because that's what I did my review, my chapter review was on enrichment with my partner, and then I just did this by myself to go off that. And then down below I just put the purpose so that people knew if they, what they want looking for isn't in that purpose, then this isn't the website for them. But I just wanted to provide information on enrichment. And provide links to enrichment activities to inspire people to help gifted students, and then to initiate conversation. And I'll show you how I did each one of those things. I also did this question down here. I thought it was interesting when we started our class, are all children gifted? And even in our special ed gifted class, we couldn't come to a consensus on, are all children gifted, or just the children that we say are gifted by testing them. So I put this poll on here. It's just like an interactive thing. And when you go in, if you say you're not sure, and then you vote, it'll come up and it'll tell you what other people think. And it's easy to drop and drag. You can just make it however you want. And then for my next page, for my content pages, I have 6 content pages. And I wanted to explain what enrichment was. Because for some parents, they might not know. They might be told their child's gifted, and they want to help them increase their education, but they don't know what to do. So I just put different types of enrichments. And then I also put a glossary underneath, because when I was doing some research on different things, there were different words that I thought, well, maybe a parent wouldn't know, or maybe a general ed teacher, or even a special ed teacher that doesn't remember. What does that mean? Because I wanted anyone to be able to read the website and understand what we're talking about. I didn't want special lingo. Like, well, that'd be good if I knew exactly what they were talking about. Now each green, underline, words, or set of words, has a link or something attached to it. Like this here is just a document that talks about the research that supports school-wide enrichment. And so they can see that, and I was able to put it so that it popped up as another screen so they don't have to keep going back to the website. And then, when I first started, I was going to divide it all into grade age groups and grades so that the parent could just go to their child's age group. But when you're talking about gifted students, you don't know if they're going to be 2 grades ahead or 3 grades ahead or. So I just ended up doing it in subjects so that you can go, well, my child's gifted in science, so let's go see what they have for science. Or they're generally gifted, so you can look at all of them. The one group that I did do, the age group, is the before school, the pre-K kids. And for each page, I have a where to start. That's the national organization for that group, so that people could go on and see what the standards are, so they could gauge where their students were, or if they had questions about different national standards. And then in this one, I did teaching, so that you could look at different things that you could teach your students. And then down here is creativity, because part of being gifted is creativity. You can be gifted with creative things. And then if you click on a link like this, it just brings you to a website. And then you can search the website for the different activities that you're looking for. And then also, like on this one, a
here in some of these different articles, they talk about reading to your children and letting them listen to someone read and look at the words. It helps them learn reading. And so there was this, you can also put it to where it goes to a certain page on a website, and then this would be a video of someone reading Three Little Pigs and the words come up underneath. And there's a bunch of different stories there. And then for science, I did basically the same thing. I just started with the Science Teachers Association and talked about different things I thought were relevant for everyone to know. And then for this one I did, because a lot of projects for in schools and for science would be independent studies or separate science projects, things like that for the students. So I just divided and I put over here so you could easily see if it's a research place to go for research, or if it's a place that had like ideas for projects and things like that. And I really stuck with like NASA, resources for the students that are legitimate, well-researched sources. I didn't want to put just anything. And then down here, something in science that really intrigued me was the virtual field trips. And then if you click on this, there's this website, and I'll show you this one. It's for different things. If you can't go to like a museum and see about dinosaurs or whatever, they have information, and you can make it real big if you were doing this for a whole group. But what you do is you just go through and it gives you information, and then it shows pictures, and they can click on these and we can talk about different types. It shows different pictures. Some museums have these. I have some links from museums where you get to walk around the exhibit, and it talks about the exhibits if you can't go there. And then that would be a video. And then it just talks about just more in depth than what you would do in a classroom necessarily about and then it goes on to planets and walking on planets. So I just thought that was a neat resource for parents. They could do it at home with their students, similar to their homeschooling or after school, or for teachers who need more information but don't have time to gather the information themselves for their students. And as you can see, I mean, this is, like I said, more research than I would have done for a research paper, because when I started doing different, I didn't want to just do math and science, you know, well, there's a lot of things were hidden. So, and all throughout I have like little comics that are relevant to the subject, for the pictures and diagrams and graphs. And here for math, we just talked about, of course, math, counseling for teachers. And then this one has some, I want to show you like an activity. This one down here had a daily Sudoku for students. So you could just do that and they could go on there. And it also just, I put it up on this page, but I would hope that people would, if they really like this, they could go onto the website and know they can look. And parents could say, well, they could put this up there for their kids on, so the kids could do it on their own. And then there's this one down here, you could have this, teaches students that are good at math how to like find the root of a number without using a calculator. It shows them the formula. Which for someone who's gifted in math would really enjoy learning.
I want to see the cartoon.
Oh. I don't know if it'll.
Just read it to us.
It says, Dad, you sold me on some bad investments. And this one I really like. It says, just look at his handwriting. How can he be gifted? And then, for each subject, it had to be different. I couldn't just do like research for each subject, or I had to come up with the different categories. And so like programs for writing, and then down here, getting published if you're gifted in writing would be a big thing. And there were some neat websites with, these are journals that publish youth writings, and they're different subject ones, so they can come out. And for each little, like, is an online critical magazine that publishes students' writing stories. The magazine are all considered dark humor. So it kind of tells you, so you know before you search the website if it's going on. And then finally, history. And the Society for History Education. And then, oh, this was fine. Then there's also quizzes, and I put like this quiz here. And it's on like, you just put there and then they can show their students as essential rules to get from what country. And then it tells you if you're right or wrong. And then for the extra page, I did a blog page, and it's funny, we were talking yesterday, you know, you put up a website and then you Google a word and your website doesn't come up. Because, you know, it's how many people link to your website and things like that. And there's even a feature on here where you can put in search words. But still, I put in a bunch of search words and then I went and Googled it and I kept going further and further and stuff and find it. And then when we were all talking yesterday, it was like, well, why do you really want just anybody to find your website? And the more I thought about that last night, I was thinking, for this, I like this because it goes beyond a paper and I can use it when I do start teaching. If I teach here in Tennessee, like she said, it's gifted as part of special ed in Tennessee. And so I can use this as a resource for parents. If they have a gifted student, I can give them my website and I can keep updating it. And then we can have like a conversation about, I can change the blog, what I want to talk about a blog, or I can add, because I was reading and I put over here last night some gifted blogs, and there's just a lot of different subjects that they cover, and I put links to those here. And some of them even have different categories. You'll see just, they do like pull, and then people can comment on those. So you could use that as a conversation between your gifted parent, you know, your parents of gifted students. And if they have a question or they want to know what's going on or you want to let them know about something, you can give them this website and use that. Conversation started. But I did want to show you, I did put a comment on here about that. And then basically what they do is they just put their name and their email if they want to, and then their information. And I have it set up so it emails me when someone puts a comment on there, it tells me what their comment is. So if it's an inappropriate comment, you could take it off immediately. But also so you could email them back if it is a question you want to address right away. So it's just a really neat resource. And once I graduate, I can put, you know, I'm a teacher at this school and just update all my information. I can update my picture and just keep adding things. And then the last page, which was one of the requirements, is the resource page. And I just put all the links that I used, and they're all actual, I turn them all into links. So someone could just use the resource page and go down and check out different links if they wanted to. And then, I think that's really it. My key for me was, there's a lot of designs you can do when you make a website, but I wanted to make mine very plain and simple. I'm usually one of those people who likes to make everything flowery. Like that, but I was afraid if I started doing that, it would be hard to read, and the information wouldn't stick out. So I did that, and you can, I mean, I made to make the links match the heading, all that stuff. It's easy to do. The process of making the website is easy. The difficulty in it is the research and getting the information, and that's the good part. But that's the difficult part. You won't get bogged down. It's just drop, you know. So it was a lot of fun, and I did a lot more research than I ever thought I would. Does anybody have any questions?
On the resources page, is that are all of those links embedded in the other content, or are there additional resources there?
Those are all embedded resources online, yeah. Yeah, because I think for every piece of information, I ended up using like an internet link, whether it was a dictionary or.
Was this reflective of being one of the best?
Yeah, I'll show you another one now.
Yeah.
Not to criticize the other one, but I was going to say, aren't I the lucky one that Melissa lives here in Greenwood, but she's not from here, but she lives here. So I said, do you think? I actually asked some other people to come as well, and they don't live around here. So yes, I take it to say this is one of the best ones. So I thought, as truth in lending, I would show you another one. And honestly, they were
but this, you know, I will obviously put this as being external. So let me show you another one. And so you'll see the difference in content and the difference in the amount of research, but it's not bad. You know, it's okay. Again, I think maybe you might have a little time. You can see the design at the top. This is all on Weebly.com. It's free. You can. Is it up forever or is it up for 30 days?
Yeah, forever.
Forever. So, and you see this sort of Weebly thing at the end, but I think apparently for $10 you can pay and have that removed, is that right? Yeah. So then it sort of becomes your own thing. So this is one of my other examples, and as I say, it's nice, but it certainly didn't have the amount of research or content in it that you see Melissa's. They've given a little about us. They've got a picture on there. This is actually a group of students, and these are some questions we had, legal questions actually. These are Cleveland City kids, and they put this on there. Nobody would know who they are necessarily. So, you know, these are some of the things that I'm thinking about refining. Like I said, I'm always refining my ideas and thinking, oh, when I saw that, I thought, oh no, I put it forward. They worked with these students, these two girls did. They did a great job with them. They did. They made quilts on the Underground Railroad. They did a unit and taught them on a Saturday morning. So these were the children that they taught, and so they were excited to have them on there. But I've got a couple of questions about whether they should really be there. So they say what they did this particular semester. We have gained knowledge and background about education development of gifted, talented, creative students. Acceleration is our specialty area. So they're talking about, you know, grade skipping. And so that's that. And they did the 4 basic requirements. So here's their content page, acceleration versus enrichment, because Melissa did hers on enrichment. So what is the difference between those two specific things? Pros and cons. So you can see, you know, they did a fair amount of finding out about different things. And then at the end, they say details about this. And they link this to their other piece of research in the classroom, which was their collaborative PowerPoint on acceleration. So they've got more details about it. They've got their links here, which you can see many less, of course, obviously, than what Melissa did. This is their PowerPoint, so they attach that as part of their link. And I just like the fact that they could link to several different things. You know, they could incorporate their own PowerPoint here. So there's their chapter 5 on there. And there's many more details about acceleration on that and what was actually in their specific thing. I lost that. Let's go to their links again. So they've got the National Association of Gifted Children. Several people, of course, use that website. Grade skipping information website. It's advocation for acceleration. This is parents and people who are saying that acceleration is a good thing. And then they have some outside sources. Gifted Exchange blog about gifted children. So they have a blog that wasn't their own blog, but they incorporated into someone else's. And then they have a little YouTube video. So you can see there's a fair amount of work into that one, but obviously not, because I judged them differently. I think you'll agree after seeing Melissa's website that digital course research and content is available to all students through the creation of these websites. And that's the title of the thing today, using websites, web resources, web research to increase course content dissemination. So obviously they found out many more things than what are in the textbook, more resources, more things that would be helpful for teachers, as well as building on the other required assignments in the classroom. So if you have any questions or
I have one question. Do you have a specific number of resources you require for the research papers?
yes,
And,
10.
okay, is it the same requirement for this? And do you see that in web design, the students are getting more research?
Yeah, I haven't they must give at least 10 ideas, like 10 different, like on the page, the content page, 10 items of information, which admittedly they could gain from one source, like a list of things. But I have found that they're finding more things through the web design pages than what they are. No, I require the 10 sources on the paper.
How long is the paper normally?
7 to 10 pages.
You weight this the same as that? You
Yes,
weight-
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Can you tell me what percentage that is of the whole
The
class?
total class, I think there's 800 points in the class.
And this is 100?
This is 100, yeah.
I would love to enhance my class, but no matter how hard I work, I'm just gonna enhance it a little bit, it's just not the same thing.
Okay, thank you. Now you want me to sing. But yeah, it's,
I'm sorry, one other question
Yeah.
for you. As far as resources, because I'm having trouble getting my students to explore enough resources
Yeah.
in their writing. How many online resources are required in the formal research paper, or do you designate
I
online?
don't designate.
Don't designate.
what I should have put, I have a sort of a requirement for the paper, and there's the thing about legitimate sources, and I put in peer-reviewed journals, textbooks, books, and I put something about, I think a newspaper is a legitimate source if it's sort of like a supportive source, because it has to be cited correctly, but I don't want all newspapers and Time magazines, and I tell them that. So I say there has to be a variety of sources in the paper, so they can use an online source, they could use an online journal, I put a legitimate government website, and so I list those things, but I don't require them specifically. If they had 3 books, 2 articles, 1 news, that's fine too. But I have found that they get into it more, if I can use that as a not a very academic term. They do sort of engage in it more when they're doing the website, I think.
What
Now,
percentage?
whether that will be a thing, a passé thing, as websites become, everybody does it, whether it will become like the research paper. But I have found, there's the writing concern. I look at, of course, grammar and spelling and stuff like that, editing. But, we have this discussion in our department. Can people write today? So it does obviate that a little bit, because I'm not asking for a carefully constructed paragraph, because they can click and drag, they can download. What I think it addresses, and I haven't even thought about that till this morning, is the critical skill 3. I'm used to doing 3, but identifying legitimate sources. Yeah, Tom?
What percentage chose to do this over the research?
Everybody.
Everybody.
This time. Now, last time, 2 people choose the research paper, and everybody else choose the website.
And it was positive response at the end.
I think so. People like it,
When you introduce this to the class, do you have like a handout that tells them how to basically get started, or do you send them over
Do we
here?
have 5 minutes? Yeah. No, I don't send them over here. They come to me, and that's the great thing.
Okay.
On my session schedule, I write lesson concerning how to create web page, or lesson concerning how to create Prezi, lesson concerning how to create Google Docs. Because in my other class, they have to collaborate online in the Google Docs thing. And like I say, I make no claim to being good at technology, but I make myself do it, log on, create everything, and then I get somebody to do it for me. So, yeah, Michael, do you want to just very, very
I
briefly,
don't know what I should show.
could you just go to the weekly website maybe, and then they can show you sort of like the format of it and how to click and grab things.
Now, our purpose, of course, is to help faculty, so this is why I come to the classroom. So they kind of, students don't come here. So if they need help and they are asking for one-on-one assistance, I'll agree to meet with the library or something like that.
And they really do that, let me say.
And I've only had, say, 2 that have actually needed help beyond an email response in the past year. There are 2 versions of Weebly. One's called education.weebly. And in this one, I use this one because I teach applications for teachers, and I require all of my students to also do the Weebly website. I find that the students get very much, as you mentioned, involved in it, to the degree that they're not recognizing that they're working pretty hard at putting together a site. And I can't say I've been disappointed yet. Nor do I anticipate being disappointed. Clarify that. Can't really remember my password. It's a set. Here's what I do when I come into her class. I show them how to get in. I have a handout that has screenshots, and so that they can look this over, because I don't expect them to memorize all the steps. Create a site. So I'm just going to do this for here. Type of site, education, category. Do I want to, all of these things we're talking about, the first one is the free one. These down here are if you already own a domain name, they want to register one. For instance, Lewis Morgan put his on Weebly because it's so easy to put together, and he just paid for a domain name so that it doesn't say Weebly. It just has Lewis Morgan with that. Some strength, and then I can delete it. Allows you to have 2, so I always delete one together. Then, I tell Dr. McClung's students that they just start from here. Any item up here, if they want to start a paragraph, drag it and drop it, and start typing. It's pretty. Everything is as simple as drag and drop. With that element. What do I want it to look like? As Melissa was referring to, you met so many designs to go through.
The designs, I think, are nice.
And also they can change these pictures. So as they roll over them, let's say they already have their site put together and they want to change the site later, they can roll over each one and decide which one is preferred after they're done with the whole project. That one doesn't really like it's exactly fitting for the title. And their selection of designs go on and on. Then if they want to add pictures, and over here to the side, that's under basic. Then under multimedia, if they want to add embed a YouTube, they just drag and drop, and then just put in the YouTube link. There it is. If they want to add their PowerPoint as the second one that you showed, they drag this down here, and it'll say, click this upload. Click click it, where is it? Upload a new file. There's no files. That's it. It's pretty much as simple as that. Like I said, there's very few that I've had to actually need to meet you face to face. A few answers and a handout, that's the job.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Just like, Stephen, thank you.